Why are investors fretting over tech? Still with us to discuss, Affirm CEO Max Levchin. Of course, there are a lot of issues, Max, privacy issues, transparency issues, election meddling, fake news, Apple, deciding not to report unit sales for the iPhone. Do you think the concern about tech is overblown, or do you think there's something there, like this will be a prolonged low point?
I think, and I am first person to openly admit that I have no idea how public markets value tech stocks or any other kind of stocks. So you're getting it straight from someone who doesn't know anything about this stuff. But I think the tech run has been so strong for so long. Almost anything now causes public investors, especially ones that don't have a deep sort of a long-term holding thesis, to say, wait a second, maybe I should cash in. So I mean, you see this in a market where the jitters are kind of nonstop. Every day there are single-digit percentage movements up or down on your favorite tech stock. So my guess is that it's people who are kind of saying, look, I made a lot of money on this run, maybe I should get out.
I have this chart here in my GTV library showing the performance of the FANG stocks compared to the S&P, still outperforming the S&P. So perhaps something to that argument that maybe it's overblown, but definitely down from where tech stocks have been. Diving in more specifically, there's a lot of concern about Facebook and privacy, and if Facebook can continue to grow, and an overall feeling of sort of tech hate. There seems to be a lot of anxiety about tech and anger towards tech. Do you think that lasts?
I think it's the tech industries to address or to ignore at their own peril. I think a lot of the brands that have been built on this implicit notion of benevolence, technology to right all wrongs, have been managed to sort of course you trust us, of course you love us, we are here in your phone, on your screen, and it's not quite so rosy anymore, and you have to re-earn the trust. And so I think a lot of this is being completely transparent, telling the story, being there with your customers, telling them what you are and you're not doing for them and on their behalf. And I'm not completely convinced the tech companies have handled this extraordinarily well. I think there's a lot of examples where they reacted quickly and smartly. Google comes to mind, where they've been very responsive and sort of said, yep, we want to know what ails our employees and we want to respond to it quickly. I think a lot of the other companies have been a little bit more glib and said, it'll blow over. Perhaps, at least the perception from the outside looking in was that maybe that's what it seems like to them. And so my guess is these are real concerns. I don't think any of them are unaddressable. One thing that's great about technology companies, they have technology, which means they have the leverage to address systemic problems with code as opposed to with more humans, but it's real work to do.
Do you think Facebook can keep growing as it has been, or will this sort of overall disenchantment with social networks sort of just change the course of growth that we have seen?
I think the thing that's very powerful about networks is network effects. So the fact that you might not like exactly how they're handling your private data doesn't change the fact that the baby pictures from your cousins and aunts are going to be there for most people. And so there's an enormous amount of retention that just comes with that territory, and they've done really, really well capitalizing on it. I think the disenchantment, if it's a lasting thing, is a very slow trend. On the flip side, I think Facebook already has maybe majority of people in the world, if I'm not mistaken. So I think it's a lot of majority of people in the world who use such things is definitely true. And so I think their user growth is something that necessarily has to slow down. There are many markets where they're still not at all available, and so there are opportunities there. On the revenue side, I think there's probably growth to have for a long, long time.
What's your outlook on crypto, given the slide?
I've always been a crypto moderate, and it's hard to call me crypto skeptic. I love this stuff. I think it's fascinating technology. I think a lot of really interesting applications. I repeat this every time. It's not a good currency. You can't expect it to hold its value. You can't expect it to be there tomorrow. There's nonstop legal uncertainty. It's not a great commodity anymore. Or for a while, it was a commodity that could only go up in one direction, and for a time, it was a commodity that was going scarily in another direction. And now it seems to be kind of in unknown territory. In the long term, I think it's going to be quite valuable. But
so you buy it?
I don't, but I'm not a speculator. I think people who buy it today are speculating on it having another major run-up, and maybe they can get out in time, which is what people who bought it in January are probably thinking about. But no, I buy into the technology value that it brings. Unequivocally true. I've now seen more and more examples of kind of first cut at real-world application of blockchain and a little bit of cryptocurrency in it that makes me think, oh, it's not just a hammer looking for nails. but it still sort of is. And so as a pragmatist, I believe in what I can see as a useful thing as opposed to a great speculation. I mean, the tulip mania was a thing.